Oh, good morning. It's the 28th of December 2011. Just that nice little comfortable, relaxing break between Christmas and New Year. I'm Elise Lonsdale and we're in Melbourne taking some photos today. We're trying a different method than usual. We're actually using 25 ISO rating on the camera and experimenting with the filter, what do you call it, the polarizing filter. We're also just messing around a little bit with f-stops, and I am just above the area of Melbourne known as Birrarung Marr. Of course, being this time of year, just behind me is the MCG, and we're at I think it's day 3 of the Boxing Day test between this year, India and Australia. We're once again looking towards our traditional spot of the Southbank precinct. I did take some photos from the usual area there near where the area that juts out onto the river, and I have ventured up the hill, up to the grass, and have found myself here, which here is actually between Birrarung Marr and the railway line. That's Federation Square in the background, and the railway line goes under Federation Square. This is the main part of the city up towards Collins Street, and that is Batman Avenue, which I think now connects with CityLink. That new building there, I'm not sure what that is, I spotted that a few weeks ago. And over there to the east is the Melbourne Cricket Ground, or MCG. Further on than that are the Rod Laver Arena and the Victoria Park Tennis Complex, where they will have the Australian Open in about a month's time. Just beyond the grass there and the trees is the famous Melbourne Yarra River, and as we often say, the river that flows upside down. Right in the middle of the screen is the Arts Centre spire, and again we come back to where we started, which is the Southbank complex, which is with its major feature building, that being the 92-storey or 88 floor observation deck of the Eureka Tower. So the Eureka Tower is the highest building there, but on level 88 I think it is the observation deck, and I think the building's actually 92 floors high. It is the highest residential tower in the world. Part of today's experiments revolve around photographing sky and grass and editing the raw photos in Photoshop. The reason being is I've not had a great deal of success in controlling, using the filter, the polarization filter, the green of the grass, and sometimes, if I'm not careful, the blue of the sky. Sometimes you get a very nice rich blue, but that means you have to notch the sky down too far, and it can make it, although pretty, look a little bit unnatural. One of the things about this time of year, it's traditionally quite a lush and, I guess you could say, wet time, because it's just before, even though we've just gone past solstice, our summer solstice, it's just gone past that time of year when it's just before, I guess, the seasonal lag takes effect and you get into that really hot weather. So we're just in that nice little median, whether it's mid 20 degree day, probably low to mid 20 degree day. Later on in the week it's going to be about 35, 36 degrees. And as the new year happens and we end up going through January and into February, this is when Melbourne will get its quite hot days. So today is quite comfortable. Over the Christmas period we had quite severe storms, actually, Christmas Day, and it's left the place quite moist. The other thing about this time of year compared to other years is, I guess, up until about a year and a bit ago, maybe 2 years ago, we were in a 13-year-old drought, 13-year-long drought, and we really didn't see it quite as lush as this, even at this time of year, for many, many years. The smells are back, the greenery's back, and Melbourne is quite a pleasant place. Once again, December the 28th, 2011. It's just gone midday, and it actually said on the radio it was 19 degrees, but it really feels nice. I'm now in short sleeves. I just thought I'd demonstrate on the movie what the filter, or the polarising filter actually does. In the foreground there's some green trees, there's even a bit of green grass here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sort of centre on the Eureka Tower and swing the filter around, and you can see the sky gets a lot brighter, the buildings get quite a bit darker, and the grass gets darker. So over towards the river, we'll show you the grass in the foreground and the sky on the top of the picture. As I rotate the filter back the other way, the green of the trees are getting lighter, the grass is getting lighter, and the sky is getting darker. That's how the polarization filter works. As you can see, that's outside, there's no filter there now. So I'm just going to try swiveling the filter within its own ring, but I don't think that's going to make any difference. So that's what we're doing today, doing exercises with the photography. As you can see, we can experiment with the lightness and darkness of not just the sky, but other things like the greenery in the foreground. Well, time to go and see if I can find some lunch. And at the mere mention of lunch, the seagulls have come out to play. Well, just a few anyway. So I'm not going to actually have lunch here, I'll just go uptown and look for something. On my way to lunch, I thought I'd stop off on Princess Bridge and do a few photos from where I was last week, doing the twilight photography. Once again, there's Southbank. Here's our footbridge, and there's the Rialto on the northern side. Now, notice the colour of the river. No, it's not dirty. It's what the Yarra River will look like after we've had quite a lot of rain. I'm no sediment expert, but it has more to do with the sediment and stuff that comes out of the bottom of the river and comes to the top of the river, which is why I think a lot of people say the Yarra River flows upside down. I'm just going to hold the phone with grim death. In a day or two, this will actually go back to its normal darker colour. But it's also the reason why, even when it's at its darker colour, a lot of people say the Yarra looks unclean, which it now isn't. When I was quite young, it did. They used to litter it quite a bit, but in the more enlightened age that we happen to be in now, people are less likely to litter the environment. And that, of course, is the Arts Centre and Concert Hall complex. So this time it really is off to lunch, but I just thought it was quite interesting to note the yellowness of the river and how it vastly looks different from other times. And it's, as I said, mainly to do because we've had quite a bit of rain.
In part 2 of this video, I actually get to visit some gardens.